All right. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Sierra St. Arnold. I am a gold consultant and an I-10 card holder. So today we're going to be going over what vendor is best for specific things. I do want to go ahead and preface this by saying I'm not going to get to every single possible scenario that you are ever going to come across. I'm going to try to cover the basics today, hoping that I'll be able to do like a part two to this with a little bit more in-depth types of trips and things like that. But I wanted to do just the basics today, especially for those of you that are newer or, are brand new, that are just getting started. You're probably not doing those big, huge, crazy trips. So I wanted to try to get, just cover the basics and kind of get you started off on the right foot with the most simple of things before I throw a bunch of other stuff at you. So there will most likely be a part two to this, but I did just want to preface that at the beginning. So if you guys don't see something on here that you wanted to see, write it down, keep it in your notes, and let me know if there's any like specific place or anything like that that you guys want to see on the next one, just because I'm only going to be here for about an hour and there's no way I could cover every single type of trip in that short amount of time. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I want to start by saying that there is no one size fits all. So I know I see a lot in the chats or on the Facebook groups or on Q&As or whatever the case may be. What's the best vendor for this? And that's kind of all you guys say. And there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of times we need a lot more information than that, right? Because what may be the best for one scenario may not be the best for another scenario. So I won't ever say that there is one vendor for the most part that is absolutely the best. There is like a couple exceptions for this, like cruises, because usually you're just going to book those directly with the cruise line. But even then, you still kind of have to qualify your clients a little bit and figure out what kind of cruise they want to go on and things like that. So a lot of things are going to depend on when your client wants to go, what type of experience they are looking for, what type of property or cruise line they want to stay on. Lots of different things go into it. So I don't ever want to say that there is one best vendor for a specific thing, because like I said, there is no one size fits all. They are all a little bit different. And part of our job as travel agents is to do that research and to figure out which vendor is best. Obviously, I'm going to give you guys some starting points today, but it's going to be kind of up to you to look through those different vendors that we have and take advantage of them to not only find the best thing for your client, but to also get the best commission for yourself. Because, we're all here to make money. Obviously, we don't want to just be here and, not make any money, right? So obviously we want to get our clients the best deals and things like that, and that's great. But what we really want is to get our clients the best value for their money. So there are some vendors that are going to offer that. They may offer, a smaller deposit amount, or they may offer extra perks and things like that that other vendors are not offering. So it's one of those things. Sometimes you have to look between a couple different vendors and figure out which one between those is actually going to be the best for your specific trip that you're booking, or for your specific scenario, your specific client, and things like that. So I just want to preface by saying that, because I know a lot of people think that there should just be one straight answer. And when people give you multiple options, we're not doing that because we're lazy or anything like that, or that we just want you to go do a bunch of work. It's really not that. But the fact of the matter is that what maybe was the best for my client in this particular situation maybe isn't the best for your client in your situation. So we like to kind of give you guys some ideas to start with so that you can compare for you and for your client, right? So the first thing I want to start off with is hotel or resorts only. So I know a lot of people book just hotels, like you may not need a flight or a rental car, you just need a place to stay. So there are lots and lots and lots of places that you can do this. And these are in no particular order. And obviously you're going to figure out which ones work the best for you and which ones you like the best. But I do kind of want to touch on all of these as much as I can. So the first one is going to be room res. So I know sometimes people have issues with room res, and I can show you guys that. Actually, let me see if I can get it pulled up. Because I know a lot of people have questions about how the pricing that shows on room res works. So let me see if I can get that pulled up and show you guys. I personally use room res a ton for hotel only. They also have some other things in here that I'm going to touch on here in just a little bit, but for the most part, I use them, for hotel only quite a bit, just because I have found that they have pretty good pricing. They pay, good commissions, and you can earn money for yourself, as you can see up here. So I'm hoping that mine will work today. So let's just say, for example, you have clients going to Las Vegas, and let's just say that they're going next month for a couple nights. So when you search these hotels, it is going to show up two prices, and hopefully this will load quicker than it usually does. So I can show you guys an example of this, because there will be two different prices that show up. So this top one right here, it's going to show Archer special rate, and a lot of times this price right here is going to be less than this price down here for the online price. But I know a lot of people get confused because this bottom one shows commission and this top one does not. So this is how you can tell the difference. So if it's this big number, this Archer special rate, you're going to earn 11% commission on the total. So when you go to the checkout screen and it gives you that price, they pay out 11% of that total price. Okay. And then obviously you receive the 80% of that. So you're going to get 11% commission on this Archer special rate. If you come across an online price that is less than the Archer special rate, then this commission right here is what you are going to earn per night. So for this one, this is, let's see, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is 4 nights. So this would be $20.57 times 4 nights, right? So you get that for every single night. And then obviously you would get the 80% of that. So I know a lot of people have questions about how this commission works and why there's two different prices on here. So I did want to show you guys that, because obviously there are going to be some instances, which I don't think any are on here today, but there are going to be some instances where this online price is less than the Archer special rate. So you can book it at the online rate, and that's the commission that you'll earn. So I did want to just kind of touch on that. And that's going to be how it is for every hotel. All of them are going to have two different prices. So that's kind of how you can tell the difference. There's nothing really different between the rooms. It's just something that RoomRez has worked out with Archer to provide us with that cheaper rate than what your client's going to find online. So that is how RoomRez works and how the commissions for that work. Another one is going to be Vax. So when I say Vax, that means any of the vendors that are within Vax for the most part. So FunJet, Apple, Travel Impressions, anything like that, that falls within Vax, you can do hotel only. You just have to select that. And then once you select that you're doing hotel only, you don't need a flight or anything like that. It's not going to give you options for flights. It's only going to give you options for hotels. So the one thing I will say when booking with Vax is make sure that you look at the little, like there sometimes is like a little colored box and it'll say like contracted hotel, or it may say, you know, full commission or something like that, depending on the brand. And the reason for that is because some of those have very discounted rates because they're partnered with Archer, but they don't pay full commission. So the way that you can check that is in your booking administration. So if you see that your commission is super, super low, then that may be a reason you want to go look at another vendor, right? Especially if you're finding a similar price somewhere else, but you're going to make the same, you're going to make better commission elsewhere. I know that happens a lot with like Hiltons and Marriott's and things like that, those big chain hotels. That happens a lot in Vax. So if you ever look and you see that your commission looks super, super small and it doesn't look like it's that normal, like 12 to 16%, then that is most likely the reason. But it should tell you right on there. And I don't have an example of that pulled up, so I apologize. But if you guys have questions about that after, I can always find one and send it to you. But it'll say contracted hotel or it'll say full commission or something like that. If it doesn't say either of those things, then you're most likely receiving your full commission, but just kind of be on the lookout for that. So you can always do hotel only in there. You don't have to add anything to it. Typically, that's not my personal go-to, but it is an option. So like I said, you can always look through a couple different ones and see which one has the best rate and the best commission. Another way is booking direct with the hotel or the resort. And I've seen a lot of people in the chats recently saying that, and even some of my agents, that they don't want to book direct because they're going to miss out on their commission. And I don't know where you guys got that idea from, but 99% of the time, hotel direct bookings pay 10% commission. You just have to make sure that you give them the IATA number. And usually there is a spot whenever you go to check out that will say travel agent number or travel agent ID or something like that. That is where you can put in that IATA number. Or if you call, you can always, make sure that they add it onto that. And if you call and book it over the phone and give them the IATA number, I would 100% recommend making sure that they send you an email showing what your commission will be so that you have a paper trail saying, hey, I did book this with my IATA number. I should receive commission. So most of the time when you book direct, it is 10%. There are a few resorts that you book direct with, and it's a little bit more than that. I know I recently booked a Moon Palace all-inclusive resort in Jamaica. I booked that directly through their travel agent resort website, and they paid out 16%. So it can vary a little bit, but I would say standard is probably going to be 10%, especially when you're doing just regular hotels, not all inclusives. So the way that you can do that is you can literally Google Marriott travel agent login. If you're not registered with them, go ahead and register. You can do that with pretty much any hotel. Just Google the name or the brand of the hotel and put travel agent at the end. You can do that with pretty much anything else too. So that's usually the easiest way to find the travel agent login and be able to put in your travel agent ID number. But if for whatever reason you can't find it, then you can always call and do it that way. Another one is Beds Online. So Beds Online typically pays 14% commission. So they do pay a higher commission than like RoomRez or something like that. However, sometimes their rates are a little bit higher. So just make sure, like I said, that you're not just going into one. If you just want to use one, that's totally fine. But if you are, really trying to make sure you get your clients the best price and things like that, then I would definitely kind of cross-reference a couple and kind of go from there. So Beds Online does pay 14% commission, but like I said, sometimes their rates are a little bit higher. So just make sure that when you're looking at those, if you're booking a non-refundable rate, make sure you know that so you can tell your client, because I know a lot of times those rates are a lot cheaper, but if they need to cancel, then they're kind of out of luck. So just make sure that you pay attention to that. That is always pretty much right there on the front page next to the room type. It'll say non-refundable rate, especially on Beds Online. I know in Vax, it's usually in big capital red letters. It'll say non-refundable room or something like that. So just make sure that you pay attention to those things if your client doesn't want something that's non-refundable. And personally, I don't recommend booking non-refundable rates anyway, just because in the event they need to cancel, it's going to be a whole mess. So I always try to avoid those anyway. But Beds Online is also an option for hotels, and they do have all inclusives on there as well. Like I said, I don't use them a ton, but they do have all of that stuff on there. Another one is Archer Go. So you can either download the app, which you do have to pay for, or you can just do it through, I believe you can get there through your back office, or you can go through Travel Cafe. That one is pretty self-explanatory. That one, it'll just have you put in where you're going, the dates, and it'll pull up some different options. And that, I don't remember the commission off the top of my head, but it shows in Travel Cafe how much it is, or how much they pay. So there are going to be some times where it doesn't show you what your commission is. You may have to call and ask somebody, or you may just have to kind of guess. But, for the most part, most of them are pretty standard. You can find them in Travel Cafe, how much they're going to pay. Another one is Downtown Travel. So same thing with this. You can log into Downtown Travel. This one, typically, as far as I know, you can add in a service fee. So it'll show you what your commission is going to be, but you can also add more to that if you wish to do so, and it will just add to their total price. They don't see it as a separate charge or anything like that. You to kind of play with your commission a little bit. So if you find a really, really good price in there and you want to add in a little bit more commission because you have the wiggle room to do so, then you can always do that. Again, you're still going to only receive the 80% of that. So just keep that in mind. But you do have a little bit of wiggle room on there. The next two are American Airline Vacations and Delta Vacations. So these are typically what I would say, I'll be honest, I don't use these two a whole lot, but you just have to select that option when you log into their portal. So they do have their very own portals. So the way that you can get your travel agent part is you can Google American Airline Vacations travel agent, or you can go through Travel Cafe. And because AAV used to be in Vax, but they are not anymore. So they have hotels, and that one should show you the commission amount that you're going to earn either on the checkout screen, or again, you can always call and see how much they're going to pay. Another option is Expedia Tap. I'll be honest, this is usually my last resort, just because with Expedia Tap, you only receive 50% commissions instead of 80%. And I know a lot of people say, well, I just keep finding way cheaper rates on Expedia Tap. And I want to point out that the more you book with Expedia Tap, the more of a member price they're going to give you. So you're going to get those cheaper rates. But one thing to keep in mind is that your clients may not be seeing that super, super cheap rate that you saw, especially if they've never booked on Expedia before. So what I like to do to compare is to go to the regular Expedia site and see what price is showing up on there. Again, if you've booked through regular Expedia, you're going to have a member price, and that just basically means that you've booked with them before and they're kind of incentivizing people for coming back and booking with them again. However, like I said, if you're booking with them a lot through Expedia Tap, then you're going to continue to get those really, really awesome discounts. So it looks like everything else is super expensive, but your client may not be seeing as cheap of a price as you are on Expedia. So just keep that in mind, especially if you have a client that you know is not going to go behind you and look to see what the pricing is. If you find something on RoomRez or Beds Online that's maybe only like $50 more than what's on Expedia Tap, personally, I would just book it with, RoomRez or Beds Online or whatever, if it's only a $50 difference, just so I could get my full commissions. But Expedia Tap is always an option. And the one thing I will say with them is just be a little careful on the room types, because sometimes they aren't listed quite the same in Expedia Tap as they are with the hotel. So it may look like it's different rooms, but really they're the same thing. So just be very cautious about that. Another way that you can book hotels is through Evo Rewards. Another reminder about this is Evo Rewards does not have commission built in. So Evo Rewards is a wholesale site, therefore commission's not built in. You're going to need to add a fee. And I can show you guys this. Hopefully it will show up. Oh my goodness. What is going on? That is not what I wanted. So when you're in Evo Rewards, again, for those of you that are new and maybe haven't played around in here, not every hotel that you find is going to give you wiggle room to charge a fee. So just keep that in mind. You want to be able to, still make some money, but not outsell yourself to other sites that your client may find. So this is really good, especially if it's a super last minute thing that they are looking for, because usually you're going to get a better discount that way. So let me see if I can sign in really quick. So if you go up here to travel, it's going to give the different options for lots of different things. Sorry, guys. I knew this was going to happen. I should have been a little bit more prepared, but here we are. Maybe. I might not be able to show you guys this. Hopefully it'll come up. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Okay, this looks like, oh, there we go. Maybe, fingers crossed. There we go. Okay, so we're just gonna do Las Vegas again, just because I know there are usually some pretty great discounts and things like that. We'll just do this first weekend here, and there may not be any availability, but we'll see. And I'm going to show you guys how you can tell how much you can charge. And I kind of go over this in my instant commission video as well, but I want to show you guys that are newbies and have not ever seen this before. Hopefully it will load sooner rather than later. So what I like to do is I like to sort by discount, because you can see how much you're saving, and I like to do by the total. So this goes for any place that you look. Evo Rewards is not going to have every single hotel. It's not going to have every single resort, and even if it does have it, it may not allow you to charge any money. So this is one of those like special situation type things. So just for example, this Wynn Las Vegas. So this is the total that they're going to pay, and this is how much they're saving in comparison to these other sites. So this is how much extra you can charge them. This you save total, that's how much extra you can charge them without outselling yourself or outpricing yourself, if that makes sense. So I have a video that goes into a lot more detail on the Team Horizon site, but I did want to just touch on that really quickly for those of you that are newbies or who have never used this Evo website. It will show you how much they are saving from a regular consumer site, and that's kind of the wiggle room that you have. So if you didn't want to make it the exact same amount that they're seeing online, you could always just do like $500 instead, and you're still making that $500. So this is going to be a form of instant commission. You don't have to fill out a commission tracking form or anything like that. You just charge it through Square or PayPal or whatever you choose to use, and you get to keep that same day. So that is one way that you can do wholesale pricing. Another one for wholesale pricing is Profit Agility. But I will have a little disclaimer on this one as well. The things in Profit Agility are set dates, and they cannot be changed. So if you have somebody that has very specific dates that they need to go, then this is not going to work. And I believe that all of them are for a week. So if you just have somebody that wants to go for like 3 or 4 days, I don't believe there are any options for that in Profit Agility. So just keep that in mind. You can either add in commission through the Profit Agility website and earn that 80% and it'll go towards your I-10 card, or you can choose to do a wholesale fee. And again, that's in my instant commission video that is already on the team website. So Evo Rewards and Profit Agility are great for wholesale fees, but not every property that you want is going to be on there. And also not every set of dates you need is going to be on there. So just keep that in mind. Another one is Sandals, obviously. So once you have been here 6 months, you can register with Sandals. That is where I would typically recommend that you book Sandals. But if you don't want to book, or if you can't book through yet, you can still book Sandals through Pleasant Holidays. So just keep that in mind. You can book just the hotel or in Pleasant Holidays. And that goes for other hotels and resorts too. I don't have it on this list, but you can do without flights and things like that on Pleasant Holidays, as well as Vacation Express. Vacation Express is only for Mexico and the Caribbean, so that's not going to give you like your US hotels or anything like that. So just be aware of that. But if you wanted to do like all inclusives, you can do those on there. And then another one is Club Med. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the only place that you can book Club Med is directly through their travel agent site. I don't believe they are with any other tour operators or vendors, and don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. So if you have someone interested in Club Med and you're like, I can't find it anywhere, that's why you need to make sure that you're registered with Club Med directly and you'll book it that way. So the next thing, flights only. I know I've seen this a lot in the chats and on Q&As recently. So I just want to put out that little reminder that commission is usually not included in flights. And it's been that way for a very long time. So you're most likely going to need to charge a fee of some kind to earn any money. And I also want to point out that the chances of you finding your clients a deal on flights is very slim, because trust me, if we could all get deals on flights, we would be flying all the time. So there are obviously places that we can book flights only, but again, keep in mind that you're most likely going to have to charge a fee because there is not going to be commission. There are a couple of exceptions for this, but they are very, very few and far between. So the first one is downtown travel. Again, with this one, make sure that you are looking at the type of flight you are booking. So make sure that if you are booking basic economy, that your client wants basic economy, because those are usually non-refundable. They don't get to pick their seats. Sometimes bags are not included, things like that. So make sure that you are paying attention to the fare type, because if you're finding it way cheaper on downtown travel than you were somewhere else, that could very well be the reason, is because you have a totally different class of flight. So that's another thing that you need to pay attention to. In downtown travel, you can actually add your service fee in there. And then you'll get paid that 80%, after they travel, things like that. Or you could charge it through Square or PayPal or something like that as a wholesale fee. It's totally up to you, but most likely to make any money, that is what you're going to have to do to book flights only. Another one is Centrav. So Centrav every once in a while does have commission built into the price. And it'll tell you if it does. Like I said, it's very few and far between, but they do have some. And a lot of times it's for international flights only. A lot of times the domestic flights do not have commission built in. So just keep that in mind. But if it does, it'll tell you on there. You'll just need to register again with their travel agent portal. Archer Go is another one. So if you are booking flights only, again, no commission is built into anything in Archer Go. However, if you book through Archer Go and something goes wrong, then the people at Archer are going to help you with whatever that flight issue is. So I believe it's Peggy at Archer that handles all of that stuff. So like if a flight gets canceled or something like that and your clients need help, then she is going to be there to help you with that. So that's always a good option, especially if you are super clueless about flights and you're like, I am terrified something's going to go wrong. Then I would definitely recommend Archer Go. You can also book flights in VAX. I'll be honest, 90% of the time, I find that the flights in VAX by themselves are a little bit more expensive than in other places, but it is another place that you can check. You can also book with the airlines directly. Personally, for me, this is what I do, I would say 99% of the time, just because if there is an issue, I can call the airline directly. I don't have to go through figured out. I can just call the airline. They can see everything on their end and I can just get it taken care of. One thing to note, when you book with airlines directly, Archer does not help you with that. But in my opinion, you don't really need it because you can just call the airlines. They're already there anyway, because what Archer is going to do is call the airline or call the vendor and figure out what to do. So I have had a lot of success booking directly with the airlines, and I just charge my fee on top of that. So I even let clients know, like, hey, I'm going to be booking this directly with the airline. I don't mind doing it for you, but I don't make any money off of that. So I do charge a fee. Some people do, $25 per person. Some people do a set amount. It really is totally up to you, but just keep that in mind that there is not commission built into those. Expedia Tap, again, a lot of times they look cheaper on here. I personally don't like to book flights through Expedia Tap just because I've had some issues, but I know not everybody has had issues with Expedia Tap, so I'm not going to sit here and say that absolutely don't do that, because that's just not everybody's experience. So I personally don't use Expedia Tap, but I know other people do and have not had any issues, so that is always another option. You can also book flights in Evo Rewards. I actually have found them a little bit cheaper in Evo Rewards every once in a while, but again, make sure you are paying attention to the fare type, whether it's basic economy, whatever the case may be. Because I actually had an agent, she booked some, she was like, they were so much cheaper, and they ended up being basic economy. So make sure that you are paying attention to that. And I believe there is also a promo code for flights in Evo Rewards, and it'll show up once you select that you're looking for flights. I believe it's $10 off of economy and then $20 off of business class or something like that. So you can add that in, and then if that makes it even cheaper, you could always charge that coupon as a wholesale fee, which obviously I'm not going to get super into, but that's always an option. And then what I would say as a last resort personally is something through Rakuten, like Cheapo Air or One Travel or something like that. Personally, for me, I have found that those are always more expensive, and it's not worth the $3 or $4 cash back that I'm going to get. It's easier for me to book in other places and charge like a $25 fee versus, getting that $3 or $4 cash back. I had an agent just last week that had a huge issue with a vendor that she used through Rakuten. So again, I know that's not everybody's experience, but I do kind of try to minimize my risk as much as I can. So that is always there, but personally, I think that you will make more money by charging a fee versus waiting for the cash back through Rakuten. And that's, again, just my personal opinion, but that's not typically what I do. But these are some options for flights only. Again, just as a reminder, there's not going to be a site that you're going to go to and save your client like thousands on flights. It might happen, but it's going to be a miracle. So don't ever promise that you're going to get super cheap flights, because we don't really even get that for ourselves. So just keep that in mind. When people come to you and want to book flights, you're not going to save them a ton of money. And there's also probably not going to be commission built in. So just know that. For rental cars only, this is kind of going to get a little bit repetitive after we go through some of these. But again, RoomRez, you can book rental cars through there. You'll earn 11%. I use them quite a bit. It'll tell you an approximate tax that they're going to have to pay at the counter if they're going to have to pay one. And RoomRez has really, really amazing customer service. So I also want to mention that if you ever have any issues, they are 100% going to help you figure it out, and they are going to answer the phone and they're going to respond to your emails same day. As much as I've experienced it, at least, they always get back to me, and their customer service is absolutely wonderful. So they are great to work with for that reason alone. But they do pay 11% everything. So you can do different rental cars in there. Make sure whenever you are booking a rental car through RoomRez that you have the correct age, because it will make you match the age that you put into the birthday that you enter for the main driver. And that's just for making sure that somebody's not under 25 and things like that, because sometimes there are added fees in with that. Again, you can use Evo Rewards. You'll just need to add a wholesale fee. So with this one, it's not going to show you, like with how the hotel showed you how much money you were going to save. It does not do that for rental cars. So you are going to have to do a little bit of searching in these other sites to see kind of what the competitor pricing is, to know how much of a wholesale fee you can charge, unless you know that your client's not going to go behind you and look, which, I mean, maybe some of you have that. I personally haven't. So typically I find that I can charge, $40 to $50 most of the time. I've gotten lucky a couple times and have been able to charge like $100, but for the most part, I would say that typically it's like a $50 range that I have a little bit of wiggle room with to be able to charge as a wholesale fee. So you can always check on there. And again, just make sure that you're aware that a lot of times taxes and fees and things like that are not paid until you get to the counter. So just be aware of that. You can also book with the rental company direct. So with Enterprise or with Hertz or whatever, again, you just need to Google Hertz travel agent and create an account, or you can always call, give them the IATA number. I did this with Enterprise one time. They only paid 5% commission. So for me, it was better to book somewhere else. The only reason I booked with the rental car company directly is because they had a really awesome sale going on that couldn't beat anything that I found in the other vendors. But 99% of the time, I don't book direct with them just because they don't pay a lot of commission. So I'm pretty sure it's 5% across the board with rental car companies. Again, don't quote me on that, but from what I have seen, that is pretty much it. You can also do Expedia Tap. So like I mentioned before, with same thing with hotels, the more you book, the more they're going to give you that member price savings. So remember that the price that you see may not be as low as the price that your client is seeing, because if you book with them a lot and your client's never booked with them, then they're not going to see that super low price. So typically if Expedia Tap and RoomRez or, whatever else show about the same price, again, within like $50 of each other, I'm going to book with the one that I'm going to get 80% commission with versus 50%. Again, that is totally my personal preference. I know not everyone agrees with that, but that's personally what I do. So that's why I'm giving you guys the different options so you can kind of figure out what works best for you, because what I like and what works best for me may not be what you like and what works best for you and your business. So that's the reason that we have so many different options. You can always use Vax as well. I believe you can do rental car only in there with like FunJet, Apple, things like that. I've typically found personally that it's a little bit more expensive for all the trips that I've needed it for, but it may work for you. And it may, be better commissions and things like that. So always check in there. Vax typically also always tells you the estimated taxes and fees that your client's going to have to pay at the counter, which is really nice because then there's no surprises. You can let them know, hey, this is kind of an estimate of what you're going to have to pay when you get there. The one thing I will say with rental cars is there is pretty much always, I actually don't know of a time that there hasn't been, there is always going to be a deposit, like a security deposit that the rental car. So basically it's going to put a hold on their account, and every rental car company is different. So you're going to need to either look in the terms and conditions or call the rental car company to see how much that's going to be so that your clients are not surprised when they get there. If it's, $250, then they know that. If it's $500, then they know that. So if that's going to be a deal breaker for them, then that may kind of help you figure out which rental car company to use versus just the initial price of the car. Because some people don't have $500 that they can just have on hold while they're on vacation. So that's another thing to definitely keep in mind. And then again, Beds Online, you can do rental cars in there as well. Again, they pay 14% commission. So it's just, like I said, you're going to kind of go through these and see which one has the best pricing, what offers the best value for their money. Because if you find on one, they have a big, huge SUV for $400, or you go on another one and they have a little teeny tiny hamster car for $400, which one are you going to pick? Probably the bigger car, right? If you're spending all that money, you want to get more car for your money. So same thing with hotels and things like that. So I always try to look, between at least 2 or 3, at least, if not more, to kind of compare different prices and things like that. Alrighty, so packages, not all inclusive. So this, when I say packages, I mean that you need a flight, a hotel, at least a flight and a hotel together in the same package. So obviously you can do this in Vax. Again, it's going to kind of depend on the hotel as far as how much commission you get paid. So that's why I always say to kind of look and see if it's a contracted hotel, see if they pay full commissions, things like that. You can also do this in American Airlines vacations. It doesn't have to be an all-inclusive to book a hotel in there. You just have to choose the option for flight and hotel. And obviously, if you need a rental car or something like that, you can always add that onto these as well. Same thing with Delta vacations. They're pretty similar to American Airlines. The only difference is that they only have Delta flights, while American Airlines only has American Airlines flights. Pleasant Holidays, you can also use for this. They don't have quite as many options from what I have seen, at least as far as non-all-inclusives for, the Caribbean and things like that. They are a very big vendor for Hawaii. So obviously Hawaii doesn't have any all-inclusives, but you can definitely use Pleasant Holidays. And then, as I mentioned before, Vacation Express. So that is only for Mexico and the Caribbean. So if you need somewhere like within the US, Vacation Express is not going to work. But if you have somebody that wants to go to Mexico or Jamaica or somewhere like that, and they don't want to stay in an all-inclusive, that's definitely a really good option because you can package the flights and just a regular hotel in together. I do want to point out, sometimes you may find the best pricing and the best commission by piecing each little part together from different vendors, but this may take away the option to place a deposit and make payments. So discuss that with your client and figure out what works for them. I know I had this when I'm actually doing it right now. I'm booking a trip to Key West, and it's just 2 people, and they don't have all inclusives, but the flight and the hotel in Vax was not paying full commission, and that price was going to be higher than if I booked the airfare directly with the airline and then I booked the hotel through RoomRes. However, when I booked directly with the airline and through RoomRes, neither of those had a deposit option. So I had to make sure, are you guys okay with paying all of this up front, or do you need that deposit option? And I let them know, hey, I do have a deposit option, but that overall price is going to be a little bit higher. So that's one of those conversations that sometimes maybe isn't super comfortable to have, but one of those conversations that you need to have with your clients to figure out, is this going to work for them or is it not? Because sometimes, like I said, piecing it together is going to get better pricing and, better commissions and things like that. So going on to even more packages for all inclusives. I know this is one that we talk about all the time, but just in case some of you guys need some more ideas, Vax is personally my go-to pretty much every single time. Apple, FunJet, things like that. All of those are going to have all inclusives. There are going to be some all inclusives that do not show up in Vax. So the Moon Palace resorts, those are not going to be in Vax. Any kind of playa resort, and if you're not sure what falls under that category, you can always Google it. You can always look up the travel agent site. Those are going to be like your Hyatt Ziva, Hyatt Zilara, things like that. Those are not going to show up in Vax. So if you are looking for that in Vax and you can't find it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's sold out. It just is because Vax does not carry it. So you may need to look elsewhere. So some places that do carry like the Moon Palace, the Playa Resorts, things like that are Pleasant Holidays and Vacation Express. So you can check those two if you're looking for those specific resorts. And another one that I mentioned a little bit earlier is Club Med. You can only book those direct with Club Med as far as I know. Pleasant Holidays may have those, but I don't think so. Don't quote me on that, but I don't believe they do. So again, if you don't see it and you go to their website and like the resort's website and you check the dates and you see that they have rooms available, they may just not be available with that tour operator. So you may just need to look at another vendor. So as I mentioned, Pleasant Holidays and Vacation Express are great for all inclusives. Personally, I have found that Pleasant Holidays is a little bit more expensive than others once you add in like the transfers and the insurance. But again, you don't know that until you price it out. So with Vacation Express, I use them quite a bit for hotel, for all inclusives. The one thing I do want to mention, which I know it's been said on Q&As, but if you book in Vacation Express and you are doing flights and hotels, so you're doing a package, make sure that the insurance you include is the VPP plus instead of the VPP, because the VPP plus is actually going to give them a refund for what they've spent. The VPP regular is not. It's going to give them a voucher with the airline. So it's not going to give them something for like a future vacation. It's for a future flight credit. So just be aware of that. Just a little tidbit about Vacation Express. But a lot of times I find them very, very comparable to Vax. So I always try to look between those two and compare prices if I don't add in Pleasant Holidays. Again, you can use American Airlines Vacation and Delta Vacations. These are not in Vax, but they are similar to like United Vacations, Southwest Vacations. When you look in them, they are only going to have their own airlines. So if you live near an American airline hub, like I know I do, Charlotte American Airlines is like the number one flight that comes in and out of there. So sometimes you can find better pricing on American Airlines if you know that's who they're going to be flying with, or if you live near Atlanta and Atlanta is a Delta hub, you may want to look at Delta Vacations. The one thing I will say when comparing all of these, make sure that you look at the insurance options that are available to your clients, because one may seem like it's a lot cheaper, and that may be the case, but they may not be getting as much for their money versus like with the insurance or even with the resort and things like that. So it may not cover, while they're in destination, it may only cover if they cancel before their trip. So just make sure that you are very cautious of those things and you're not just like, oh, well, this is cheaper. Actually, make sure that we always say compare apples to apples. Make sure that you are doing the same thing, comparing packages between different vendors. And that goes for everything, not just all inclusives, but that goes for everything. Another one that Jody actually just had a meeting with, or she had a Zoom call with us and for our team, is ID Travel Group. They have all inclusives, and I believe they have regular hotels as well. They don't have everything that all of these other vendors are going to have because they are very picky about who they work with. So those are going to be your more, upscale and, true 5 stars. They have really good ratings and great customer service and things like that. Because ID Travel Group really prides themselves on working with people that they are proud of. So if you go in there and you don't see someone, that may be why. It's not that it's a bad resort by any means. They just don't work with everyone. So just keep that in mind as well. So far, I have seen a lot of great things in there though. So I always try to compare it with other vendors if the hotel that I'm looking for or the resort that I'm looking for is in there. And then another one is Classic Vacations. So I don't use this one a ton. Honestly, I kind of forget about it sometimes, but they do regular hotels as well as all inclusives. But again, these are typically going to be like your nicer resorts, I guess I would say, from what I have seen at least. And again, they have lots of different insurance options. So make sure that you are reading through those to see what's actually provided in the cost that your client is paying. And same thing with transfers and all of that stuff. Make sure you're always comparing apples to apples to get your best price for yourself. And Classic Vacations will show you your commission. As far as I know, all of these will show you your commission, before you even check out. So you can compare that as well. Alrighty, so cruises. This one is pretty straightforward, I would say. I know a lot of times people are looking between different cruise lines. They have the same dates, but they may want to check between different cruise lines. You can use Cruise Pro and Agent Universe to look for those different cruises and different options and different ports and things like that. But do not book through there because you're not going to get paid as good of a commission. So pretty much, as far as I know, at least, every cruise line you're going to book direct with that cruise line. So Carnival, you're going to go on Carnival's website. Cruising Power does have all 3, Azamara, Celebrity, and Royal Caribbean. So all 3 of those are going to be in Cruising Power. Obviously, Virgin Voyages is going to cover all of Virgin Voyages. One Source also has 3 different ones. So they have Princess, Cunard, and Holland America. So that's where you would go to book any 3 of those cruise lines. Norwegian Cruise Line has their own travel agent portal. MSC has their own thing. AMA Waterways is going to be a river cruise, and there are others for river cruises, but I don't do a ton of those, so I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with those. And Uncruise Adventures is going to be like very small ships, very small groups. Those are in Travel Cafe. Everything that I've talked about so far in this presentation and everything I'm going to talk about, except for maybe a couple things, are all in Travel Cafe. So if you need to know how to register for them, especially for those of you that said you've only been here like a couple days, you can go into Travel Cafe and it shows the exact website you need to go to, and it'll show you exactly how to register. You may just have to scroll down a little bit. There is also a video on step 1 of the Horizon site where Sama Oreo walks through registering for all of our preferred vendors and suppliers. So if you want to watch somebody do it, she just updated that like a couple weeks ago. So make sure that you check that out as well, because I know a lot of people in the chat have been asking, well, how do I register for this? How do I register for that? And if you would just watch that video, I promise it's in there. And if it's not in there, you can always look in Travel Cafe for these big preferred vendors that we have. So like I said, for the most part, any kind of cruise that you do, you're just going to book that direct with the cruise line. And another way you can find these if you don't want to go through Travel Cafe is you can look up, Norwegian cruise line travel agent login or travel agent portal, something like that. Google will get you just as far most of the time. So cruises, like I said, are pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, I don't have it on this list, but if you're doing a Disney cruise, you're going to book that through Disney, so on and so forth. So activities, this is going to be like your excursions, the fun stuff that people want to do when they're on vacation besides just, sit in the room. So Viator is a big one. Right now we have a 15% off code. It is Viator Week all together. You can send that out to your clients as long as they book with your link. That code is valid through the end of April. So don't forget to share that places. I have booked all kinds of stuff and I've had all kinds of strangers book through my link. So you can always share that. What I do whenever I send out quotes and things like that, and whenever my clients are on their trip, if they haven't booked anything yet, I make sure I go ahead and send that link to them. And if you guys need to know where to find that, I can later. But it's just a little button. It says share with client, and you click on it. You can copy the link and send it over. Anything they book using that link, you'll receive an email, and they will be able to, obviously you'll be able to earn the commission and they'll be able to book on their own. They don't have to send you, all kinds of stuff and go back and forth. They can just go ahead and book it right there. RoomRez also has some activities. A lot of these are probably, as far as what the activity is, are going to overlap because obviously businesses are going to advertise in multiple places. So a lot of times it's just a matter of ease. So if you're booking it for them and you find it in RoomRez, maybe when we don't have a 15% off code or something like that, and the price is the same in RoomRez as it is in Viator, you may want to book it in RoomRez because RoomRez pays 11% commission when Viator only pays 10%. So it's that little bitty tiny extra that just you kind of keep in the back of your brain to know, like, okay, I can earn 1% extra, especially if they're going to cost the same for your client. Why would you not earn that 1% extra, even if it's only a couple dollars? That can go a long way if you're doing that with every single client. You can also book activities in Vax. So you can either add these on to your client's package when they book originally. You can always go in and add it on later, or you can just book activities by themselves through Vax. I typically use the first two versus Vax, but again, that's totally my personal preference. It's all about just kind of finding what works best, especially if you're doing a package and they want to just have it included in their package that they are paying on. You can do it through Vax. Viator does have that option to reserve now and pay later. So if they, are worried about paying for it later, then obviously you have that option. But if they want to break it up over multiple payments, then I would say probably use Vax because obviously you have that deposit option and things like that. You can also use Expedia Tap. Again, this is typically kind of a last resort for me, or if I can't find something anywhere else, just because they only pay that 50% commission. But you can book things as far as activities in Expedia Tap, just like you would in any of these other ones. Project Expedition is a good one as well, and I believe they also have an affiliate link that you can send out and your clients can book through on their own, and then you'll just get an email. So you can actually go on Project Expedition, and I believe, I don't remember the exact things that you have to press, but you can go on there and type in the different cruises that people are going on, and it'll show you what is available in each port, so that obviously you can do that through Viator, but it may not be able to pinpoint like exactly where they're going to be porting and things like that. Project Expedition will show you kind of the things in that general vicinity of the port, so you can still book things for your clients and earn commission. Because obviously when you book through the cruise lines, unless it's Virgin Voyages, as far as I know, no one else does it. You don't earn commission when you book through the cruise lines. So Project Expedition is a great way to do that. Again, with that, just make sure you let your clients know that if they miss getting back on the ship, then that's kind of on them unless they book it through the cruise line. So just make sure that they don't pick something that's going to take up the entire day and going to chance them missing getting back on it. You can also add on to packages in Pleasant Holidays, in Vacation Express, in Europe Express, Vax. All of those different vendors typically allow you to add those on. I know I touched on Vax at the beginning because you can go in and just do activities, but you can also add it onto those packages. And then for the cruise lines, as I mentioned, if you're okay with not earning commissions, or if the cruise line has something that maybe no one else offers, or your clients are really worried about getting back on time and they would rather just be safe than sorry and book it through the cruise line, you can, as far as I know, the only way you can add these on is by calling in or to have your client do it in the app or on the website. Again, you're not going to earn commissions on these except for with Virgin Voyages. So if they call and do it, or if they go in their app and do it themselves, you're not really losing out on anything. And then they can kind of look through and pick. I know I had clients on Norwegian back in February and I called to see what was available. But my client was also able to see it in his app. So it's really kind of up to you whether you want to do that for them or just tell them how to do it on their own. So lots and lots of different options for activities. Again, you're probably going to see some overlap depending on the location, because obviously businesses want to advertise in as many places as they can. But if that is the case, if everything's the same price, like I said, I typically go with the one in the example of Room Res or Viator, then it's going to be Room Res. Even though it's only 1% more, if you're doing that with every single booking, then that's going to add up. And again, that's if you're not sending out a link for people to book it on their own, if you're doing everything for them. So those are just some ideas for activities. And then I believe this is my last slide for today, is concert tickets, sports tickets, and shows. So a big one, this is in your back office, is Golden Tickets. You can either book that for your clients, or they will give you an affiliate link that you can share. And then I believe you get an email if someone books through it. And I believe it's 10% mistaken. Again, don't quote me, but I believe Golden Tickets is 10%. You can also do Events 365, and both of those are going to have concerts. They're going to have really any kind of event. So even if it's like a festival or something like that, those are going to be in there. Sports tickets are going to be in there. So baseball, oh my goodness, baseball, soccer, football, basketball, boxing, any of that kind of stuff, any kind of sports are going to be in both of those. And in Events 365, you can actually kind of play with your commission a little bit. If you want to add more, it'll just add on to the total. If you want to take some off, you can do that too, especially if you're booking for yourself. I know I did that with some baseball tickets. I just took all of the commission out and got the cheaper price. So that's always an option in there too. Another one is road trips. This one is for any like major sporting events. So like the Super Bowl, any kind of like championship game that's, really big, like the World Series or something like that. They have, I believe, the Daytona 500 and like different races and all of that good stuff on there as well. So those are for like your sports packages. You can check that. Another one is Sports Empire, and all of these are in Discord. I am going to show you guys where to find these as soon as I'm done talking, because a lot of these, like I said, I got from Travel Cafe and I got from Discord. So they are all easily accessible to you as well. So you don't have to go searching super hard to find these. So Sports Empire also has sports tickets and things like that. Evo Rewards does as well, but again, remember, you're going to need to add a wholesale fee. So that's why I say check a couple different ones when you're checking Evo Rewards, so that you know how much you can charge. Because obviously, if Golden Tickets is the same price as Evo Rewards, you're going to book it through Golden Tickets because your commission's already built into that price. Versus Evo Rewards, you're going to have to add extra onto it to make any money. So that's why I always say compare. And another one that I personally have not used, but I am registered with, I found out about them when I first became an agent. It's called Applause Theater and Entertainment, and I can send this out in the chat once this is over, but this is good for Broadway shows. So they pay commission and everything like that. You can use their website or you can call in. They sent me like a little brochure when I first started, and you can book Broadway shows through them. So there are probably other options for this, but these are some that I have used and know of. So obviously, if you guys have other ones, that's totally fine. But I just wanted to put together like a kind of convenient list. But I believe that is all the ones I have. Yes. So I'm going to stop sharing my, actually, no. I'm going to show you in Discord where you can find all of these. And then if you guys have questions, I will answer any questions. You can actually go ahead and put those in the chat if you guys have any questions. But I do want to show you where I found a very extensive list where I got some of these ideas from, for ones that I didn't already know or use. So if this will load, I will show you guys. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. I know someone said, will I be sharing this? Yes, it is recorded. It may be a few days before I get it posted, but it will be posted. And of course, my Discord is not going to work when I try to show you guys this. Why would it? Let's see here. There we go. It's coming slowly but surely. All right, so if you are in the Team Horizon chat, over here on the left-hand side, if you scroll down just a little bit, there should be a tab that says vendors, and it'll have a little umbrella emoji and a little mountain emoji. There is going to be, there's going to be a couple spreadsheets here, but if you scroll up, it's going to be categorized by what they are. And obviously this is not every single vendor that we have, but there are a lot more in here than what I touched on today. And I am going to do, a part 2. So just keep that in mind. Obviously I didn't have enough time to go over anything else, so that worked out. But if you need a train, there are a couple train ones right here. If you need a rental car, there are a couple rental car vendors right here. And if you click on it, it should take you straight to the travel agent site or something like that, to where you can book using your auto number and earn commission. So these are all separated, like I said, by what they are for. And then there's some just like miscellaneous ones and things like that. But there is a whole list that you guys should take advantage of if you are wondering, what vendors do I have access to, or what vendors can I use, and things like that. There are a ton right here in Discord. You don't have to go anywhere else because we're in Discord all the time anyway, right? So this even has like cabins and things like that, rental homes. Obviously, I didn't have time to go over those today, but if you're ever looking for something like that, lots of vendors in here that you can use, okay? All right, so let's see here. Will I share the PowerPoint? So the PowerPoint's going to be in the recording. You can always go back and look at the recording. All right, I am going to stop sharing my screen. So for those of you watching the recorded version, thanks for joining. If you have any questions, ask in Discord, but I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.